The great white continent is losing its ice. The Antarctic ice sheet, which has the biggest potential for sea level rise, is close to its tipping point.
A $3.6 million autonomous submarine disappeared beneath Antarctica's Doomsday Glacier in February 2024, just weeks before its scheduled retirement. But before it vanished without trace, it transmitted footage that made scientists compare the experience to seeing the far side of the moon for the first time. The images showed teardrop-shaped ice formations stretching 1,300 feet long, carved by forces nobody predicted. They revealed chaotic underwater landscapes that threw decades of climate modeling into question, and they confirmed that one of Earth's most critical glaciers is melting faster than every previous estimate suggested, fast enough to redraw coastlines and submerge entire cities within our lifetimes. The submarine's name was Ran, after the Norse goddess of the sea, and it was built to survive conditions no human ever could, navigating blind through frozen black ocean 1,500 feet below solid ice, guided only by algorithms and sonar in a place where light doesn't exist. Then, mid-mission, the signal stopped. No distress beacon, no debris. The submarine simply ceased to exist, swallowed by the environment it was built to understand. Some believe it got trapped when shifting ice closed around it. Others think a sudden collapse sealed it into underwater channels with no escape. But what's genuinely unsettling isn't just that we lost a sophisticated piece of technology in one of Earth's most hostile environments. It's what that technology revealed before it disappeared, and why those discoveries mean Antarctica is hiding secrets far stranger than anyone imagined. Here's what Ran actually found under the ice: why a flat earther's trip to Antarctica accidentally debunked one of the internet's most persistent conspiracy theories, and what scientists are discovering beneath the ice that rewrites everything we thought we knew about Earth's history and future. December 2024 produced one of the internet's strangest moments when Geran Campanella, a well-known flat Earth advocate, spent $37,000 and flew 14,000 kilometers to Antarctica specifically to prove the midnight sun was fake. His mission was straightforward: capture footage exposing the 24-hour daylight hoax and demonstrate that Antarctica's ice wall represents the edge of a flat Earth. But after days of filming under a sun that stubbornly refused to set, something unexpected happened. He turned to his camera and said quietly, "Sometimes you are wrong in life." I thought there was no 24-hour sun. I honestly now believe there is. That clip exploded across social media, and suddenly one of the internet's most persistent conspiracy theories, the Antarctic ice wall as cosmic boundary, began cracking apart. But what exactly is this ice wall people reference constantly? In reality, it's not some towering barricade hiding secret lands or alien installations. It's a ring of massive floating ice shelves fringing approximately 75% of Antarctica's coastline. These shelves are genuinely breathtaking, rising 150 to 200 feet above sea level, with foundations plunging hundreds of feet below the surface. They form where glaciers meet ocean, spreading outward like frozen tongues. The Ross Ice Shelf alone covers an area roughly the size of France. It looks endless and otherworldly, but it's pure geological process, not cosmic conspiracy. So how did natural ice formations get twisted into ultimate proof of flat Earth? Partly it's the visuals. If you only see drone footage of white cliffs meeting Black Sea, it's easy to imagine an icy rim at the planet's edge. Add blurred patches on Google Earth, and people start asking what's being hidden. But those blurred areas aren't proof of secrets. They're boring consequences of orbital physics. Satellites travel fixed paths, and Antarctica doesn't generate high commercial or residential imaging demand. That means fewer flyovers, lower priority, and naturally lower resolution. Google's algorithm fills gaps with blurry tiles, not because of government censorship, but because there's insufficient source data. Then there's the Antarctic Treaty, which sounds mysterious. Over 50 countries agreeing to ban military presence and mining on a continent twice Australia's size. But the actual reason is environmental protection and scientific cooperation. Signed in 1959, it prevents nations from fighting over territory or exploiting resources, turning the entire continent into a shared laboratory. Today, more than 56,000 tourists visit Antarctica annually under strict environmental permits. Real humans, scientists, photographers, adventure travelers, have walked, skied, and flown across the same forbidden zones conspiracy theorists claim are off-limits. The South Pole Station, sitting over 1,200 kilometers inland, is staffed year-round. Planes land there regularly. Researchers upload videos, eat pizza, and video call their families. Hardly behavior consistent with shadow governments guarding Earth's edge. Where did the secrecy myth originate? Much traces back to Operation High Jump in 1946, one of the largest Antarctic expeditions ever mounted, involving 4,700 military personnel, 13 ships, and 33 aircraft. For decades, rumors claimed it was a Nazi hunt or UFO recovery mission. The truth? It was a Cold War logistics test. The U.S. Navy wanted to map 1.5 million square miles and train troops for polar survival. They left behind radar data, film reels, and mundane military paperwork, not alien wreckage. Here's the irony. When you strip away mythology, Antarctica's real story is exponentially wilder. The continent isn't hiding cosmic borders, it's hiding time capsules. Under the ice lie meteorites, fossilized forests, and entire lost ecosystems sealed for tens of millions of years. And that brings us back to RAN, the submarine that vanished after capturing footage scientists are still processing. What did it actually see under the ice that changed everything? RAN was no toy. It was a torpedo-shaped autonomous robot designed to glide through environments that would instantly kill humans, navigating 1,500 feet below solid ice through frozen black ocean where pressure is crushing and temperatures hover just above freezing. In February 2024, it dove beneath Thwaites Glacier, the so-called Doomsday Glacier. If Thwaites collapses, global sea levels could rise over 2 feet, enough to redraw coastlines and inundate coastal cities housing hundreds of millions of people. Over the course of its expedition, RAN traveled more than 1,000 kilometers beneath the glacier's underside, guided not by GPS or human control, but by algorithms and sonar maps stitched together in real time. Down there, light doesn't exist, only darkness, pressure, and the grinding sound of ancient ice shifting above. Then, emerging from that void, RAN's cameras began transmitting something nobody expected. Strange, smooth formations appeared. Giant teardrop shapes carved into the glacier's underside, some as long as 1,300 feet. Scientists froze watching their screens. Lead researcher Anna Wolin from the University of Gothenburg later admitted, "I couldn't stop looking at it. We had no idea it could look like this. It looked more like art." The footage showed a world inverted, sand dune-like waves sculpted in ice, swirls and ridges shaped by ocean currents, and vast hollows painted in blue and silver. It didn't resemble any place on Earth. One researcher described it as discovering the far side of the moon. But just as teams prepared to bring RAN home for its final retirement mission, everything went silent. The signal froze mid-transmission. Then, nothing. No distress ping. No return beacon. The submarine simply vanished. For days, search crews used helicopters and drones scanning the surface for debris, but found none. RAN was gone, swallowed by the environment it was built to study. Still, before disappearing, RAN's sensors completed one final data upload. That information confirmed the glacier's underside wasn't smooth like models assumed. It was chaotic, carved by strong swirling currents. Those teardrop formations proved that warm ocean water, pushed by Earth's rotation, was tunneling deeper into the ice than anyone thought possible. This meant Thwaites Glacier could melt faster than all previous predictions, throwing sea level rise estimates into chaos. RAN wasn't alone in rewriting science. Earlier missions across the Dotson ice shelf between 2022 and 2024 revealed similar patterns. Mysterious lines, grooves, and circular depressions on the seafloor unlike anything previously recorded. Scientists suddenly realized they'd been fundamentally underestimating how oceans sculpt ice from below. The melting maps that guided climate models for decades? Obsolete. In October 2025, RAN's replacement, RAN 2, was announced, a sleeker successor armed with next-generation sensors and AI pathfinding, set to return to Thwaites to finish what its predecessor started. But many researchers admit there's quiet dread beneath the excitement, because if the last mission uncovered an alien-looking world under ice, what else might be waiting there, still untouched and unseen? But RAN's discoveries are only part of Antarctica's stranger story. In April 2020, scientists drilling beneath Pine Island Glacier pulled up something nobody expected: sediment cores filled with fossilized roots, spores, and pollen so perfectly preserved you could still see individual cell walls under microscopes. This wasn't just dirt. It was remains of a rainforest that thrived at the South Pole 90 million years ago. And it wasn't some sparse moss-covered tundra. It was warm, swampy, and alive with vegetation. Towering conifers, ferns, and flowering plants blanketed the landscape. The air was thick with humidity. Rivers meandered through dense forests, while dinosaurs stomped through undergrowth. Even though this region endured 4 months of total darkness annually, global temperatures were high enough to sustain thriving forests. How could the South Pole, now Earth's coldest place, have once resembled the Amazon? The answer lies in greenhouse gases. During the Cretaceous period, carbon dioxide levels were 3 to 4 times higher than today, trapping heat planet-wide. Antarctica, then part of supercontinent Gondwana, sat further north and received sufficient summer sunlight to sustain lush vegetation year-round. Scientists from Imperial College London noted that studying this rainforest provides glimpses of what Earth could look like if current warming trends continue, a genuinely sobering discovery. Then in November 2024, another bombshell. Researchers discovered the first ever piece of amber from Antarctica, a golden translucent fossil the size of a thumbnail. Inside, under layers of ancient resin, lay microscopic traces of the same prehistoric ecosystem: moss fragments, fungal spores, and possible insect remains. Until this find, Antarctica was the only continent where amber had never been discovered. Now, it's the missing piece of a global puzzle potentially holding DNA-level secrets of a vanished world. But nature wasn't finished revealing secrets. In October 2023, scientists from Durham and Northumbria universities used ice-penetrating radar to uncover something colossal: a hidden landscape the size of Maryland buried under a mile of East Antarctic ice. They described it as a frozen time capsule: vast valleys 25 miles wide and nearly 4,000 feet deep, carved by ancient rivers, separated by ridges stretching over 100 miles. What's remarkable is preservation quality. Most glaciers grind and crush everything beneath them, but here ice moves so slowly it has protected terrain for 34 million years. It's as if the continent hit pause on an entire world and never pressed play again. By July 2025, radar scans confirmed more clues: networks of ancient river systems snaking across the continent up to 80 million years ago. Scientists believe these rivers fed vast basins where rainforests flourished, forming ecosystems that could rewrite our understanding of polar evolution. Every time scientists drill deeper or scan further, they find more evidence that Earth can transform far faster and more dramatically than anyone imagined. The same carbon levels that once turned Antarctica into tropical paradise are rising again today, but some recent discoveries are so unexplainable that explanations remain elusive. Take Blood Falls, a 5-story waterfall gushing from Taylor Glacier that's not white, blue, or clear, but blood red. Discovered in 1911, it remained one of Antarctica's greatest mysteries for over a century. Water flows clear from deep inside the glacier, but the moment it hits air, it turns crimson. Between 2018 and 2023, research teams finally solved it. Blood Falls is outflow from an ancient subglacial lake sealed beneath nearly 400 meters of solid ice for at least 1.5 million years. The water is twice as salty as seawater, loaded with iron-rich particles. When this iron-saturated water meets oxygen, it instantly rusts, turning blood red. But here's the wild part. Inside that lake are microbes, alive, thriving in pitch-black, high-pressure salt water with no sunlight, no oxygen, and no contact with the outside world for over 1 million years. Jump to September 2025. 10 years of satellite data revealed Antarctica isn't sitting on 1 or 2 hidden lakes. It's floating above 231 of them. 85 were newly discovered active subglacial lakes that drain and refill like beating hearts beneath ice. Scientists watched 12 go through full cycles, each time shifting ice above by meters. These underground floods act like hydraulic lifts, lubricating ice sheet bases and sending sections sliding faster toward oceans. Every pulse could be raising global sea levels in real time. And there's Lake Vostok, the largest of all, the size of Lake Ontario, buried under 2.4 miles of ice, untouched for 15 million years. Some researchers believe it has oxygen levels 50 times higher than any ocean and possible geothermal vents on its floor. In 2023, scientists finally extracted the first layered sediment sample. Each layer could hold trapped gases, ancient DNA, or chemical traces from a world that hasn't seen light since before modern humans existed. If entire ecosystems survived millions of years sealed in ice, what else could be down there, still waiting? The question isn't whether Antarctica is hiding secrets, it's whether we're ready for what we'll find when the ice finally melts.